Speaking of Chris Shula, this Rams defense was unbelievable against the Seattle Seahawks. It was coined game of the year and ended up being the opposite of what I think everyone thought. I think everyone thought high scoring, fireworks, big plays, ends up being super, super turnover filled as Sam Darnold struggled. He had 4 picks. This is the 3rd time in his career that he has finished with no touchdowns and 4 interceptions. But on the other side of things, Matthew Stafford continues to stack his just unbelievable year that he has put together. 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He is the 6th player with 27 passing touchdowns and fewer than 5 picks through 10 games in a season. And the last 4 the last 5 players to have accomplished this went on to win MVP. The only other players who didn't win MVP was Mahomes in 2020. Aaron Rodgers, interestingly enough, is 3 of the players that have fit this description. The other thing that's also been really quite stellar for Stafford and showed up in this game is the way that he has handled pressure in this performance, or so far this season. He has 22 passing touchdowns against the blitz. That is 11 more than any quarterback this season. 11.
He's a wizard.
That is 5 more than any quarterback had last year. So he is stepping up to the challenge for a 37-year-old. He's playing like he's 25.
I mean, this reinforces the Twitter trope of we used to watch gods play, because Matthew Stafford was in his, I guess, technical prime of a quarterback and an athlete. Floating around the top 10, like there were 9 quarterbacks doing stuff like this that were better than him. And now, years later, he is older, savvy vet doing this on the weekly. It's impressive. I mean, this guy's longevity is impressive. What he's doing with the Rams is stellar. They're a legit Super Bowl team this year. Buy stock now. It's a pretty safe bet in the NFC. You watch how this team operates. They don't flinch. They don't make stupid mistakes. They play hard. How about, they make the right, every time that they have a draft pick, it feels like it just fits. Cameron Kinchins, the safety. He had a big pick in this game. Of course that worked. I saw how he played in Miami. I saw and then he goes to the Rams, gets developed properly, and now he's making impact plays. Not a super high draft pick either. They're just doing the right things in LA. The GM is great. Their development is great. Also, fun little storyline here, Joe. They're going to have a possibly top 5 draft pick next year that they got from Atlanta. The Rams could be a Super Bowl favorite this year, and they're going to have a top 10 draft pick next year. Buy stock. What a team. What a season. And the Davante Adams signing, so slept on. Such a good addition to that team. You lose Cooper Kupp, you get rid of him. That just ran its course in LA. They didn't say, let's just let Tutu Atwell come in and take that position and we're going to have him develop into it. No, we're getting Davante Adams. That's what we're doing. We got Puka Nacua and we had Cooper Kupp, and when they were both great, the offense was unstoppable. We're not going to settle for a player that is inadequate for dominance. And they went out and got Davante Adams, and it has absolutely elevated the team. I love their operation. One of the most fun teams in football.
Well, 2 things you just said right there. One, I definitely believe that they really should be respected as the most likely team to win the Super Bowl. I really think that this team has figured out their identity on defense. I think that they have ridiculous explosiveness on offense to have maneuvered what you just said, to go from an aging Cooper Kupp to a guy who also couldn't stay healthy to Davante Adams, who is seemingly always available and always reliable. That was something that required risk, and a risk that is paying off. If Stafford is playing this well and he is mistake adverse, you are going to have what it takes to win a Super Bowl this season. I feel more threatened by them with the different ways that they've been able to win compared to the Colts, compared to the Eagles, which we're going to get to in a bit. They just do all of the things right in order to produce a Super Bowl, and they've won a Super Bowl, which is why it makes more sense, because they've had the experience of being there. They know what it takes. The other part with this, though, that's quite intriguing, as you just mentioned, they're having that top pick because the Falcons are so ass. They have the insanely ridiculous situation where they could potentially end up being able to draft their next quarterback with a top 10 pick, to be able to sit him for 2 to 3 years, and then to be able to have that next guy ready to go. Imagine if they could end up with Dante Moore. Imagine if they can end up with Fernando Mendoza or Ty Simpson, who just gets to hang out for a couple of years. This has never been possible, and they have one of the most unique circumstances. I really hope they don't overthink that and go, well, we want to gear up for one more run, and we got to go and get our guy. We got to go get the, Keldrick Falk, or we got to go and get some big-time whatever it is. Take advantage of the extremely rare circumstance of having a soon-to-be 38-year-old quarterback. Draft one of these dudes who's raw and traitsy. Let him sit. Let McVay mold him, and then, watch the next version of this franchise turn into another elite one.
This is the second time today I've heard the quarterback option with that first pick. Now I'm sure they're going to lose somebody that they would like to replace with that depth, but I think you're right. The more that I've been mulling it over, I mulled it over on my cold walk home from the train today about what the Rams would do, and if you don't get the quarterback, then you're probably going to still have another awesome season, and you're going to be picking in the late 20s anyways. And then eventually the wheels are going to fall off, and you're going to be still a good team because you have a good coach and great bones that you're not – the Rams likely aren't going to be picking in the top 10 just by their own accord for a while. I think they're that good. So if you have this opportunity to go in and snatch a guy, that's got to be the play. It has to be. I mean, it's just a fundamentally sound decision to make for the future of your NFL team, is to say, hey, we got lucky here. We got absolutely effing lucky, and we got to get a guy that we think, that's going to be so intriguing. Oh yeah. And are any of these guys in this class, Joe, you think like day one, right as they're rookies, they should be out there starting, or are they all just going to be, we want them to bake a little bit for a year?
Wait, you're saying with the quarterbacks?
The quarterbacks specifically.
I think that Mendoza could start right away. I think that Ty Simpson could start right away. I think that Dante Moore, there's an inkling of a belief that maybe he goes back to school because he's on the younger-ish side.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it would hurt him to sit a little bit because he's been a little bit up and down. The one wild card with this, Lenora Sellers has been kind of considered a faller in the class, and he's somebody who could also go back to school, could end up transferring to somewhere big and with a coach that knows how to work with quarterbacks and, be in the college football playoff mix. But that would, to me, would be the really intriguing one for the Rams, because you just take the shot on the elite athlete that you don't have to put out there. It's kind of Packers-esque with Jordan Love. Jordan Love was awful for the first 3 years that he was in the NFL. We saw it when he stepped on in the field. He was terrible. And now he's doing crazy shit every single time he drops back.
Man, yeah.
Taking the risk on traits, but being able to be patient with that does give the Rams a little bit of a unique spot where, ultimately what they could do would be really crazy is they could trade back. They could draft a quarterback like Sellers, who's all traits and all flash, and then develop him, and then have multiple picks accrued because somebody else wanted to trade up and go and get one of these guys that's a little bit more ready to go.
I just worry about them getting a trait guy because the most success they've had with a quarterback in the modern era has been Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford,
but he's a trait guy.
He's an arm guy. He's strictly an arm guy.
Yeah,
Sellers
but hold on.
Wait.
But Stafford has been deemed and considered to be one of the most rare quarterback prospects that's ever come out. He had a big arm. But he's got a cannon.
What's Sellers' best attribute is what? His escapability from pressure and
but he's also got a gigantic cannon arm. I think that there would be an easy translation to there would be a potential elevation to the offense with adding a gigantic arm with escapability and power and speed and all that.
I'm going to let you know something right now because I'm not just my philosophy. I'm about done with escapability. I'm about done glazing a guy that gets out of a sack. I want to see a guy that has 3 seconds and makes the right call every time. That's what I want to see from a quarterback.
That's a bad take.
That you think it is?
Yeah.
Why?
Offensive lines are bad these days. I want somebody who can evade pressure.
The MVP this year is a 37-year-old that can barely evade pressure in Matthew Stafford.
But he has good pocket awareness.
Yeah. Give me somebody that has good pocket awareness. Not somebody that just slips away.
All right,
I'm sorry.
We got two other games that we got to get to here. I'm not going to get into a shouting match with you over that.